just talk about the exam, the forthcoming exam. Okay, so exam day, we should pretty much decide that like now. And I will send out an email, but it will either be next Monday or next Wednesday. So let's go ahead and take a look. Share screen. So assignments, exam 1 is currently unavailable, which is perfectly fine. Okay, so I'll obviously adjust the due dates then. So let's take a look at the time. We've got 22 and 24 that are the possible days for the next exam. It would be on the same day, as our same time as our normal class. Would be it would be 11 o'clock. We can either do it during the lecture or during the lab also. So it could be Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Although if you do it during the lab, there would technically be more allotted time blocked off for you. Is it really? The 23rd is a wellness day? That's just randomly they... Let's take a look at that calendar. Let's see. The 24th is March, is a wellness day, and the 23rd is a wellness day. Yeehaw. It's they're not holding any classes on next Tuesday. Oh, that's going to be so nice. And so weird, but so nice also. So, all right, so 2/23. So Tuesday, Ixnay on that. So that means that we will have our exam on, I guess, any objections to Wednesday? If not, I can always give it early to that particular student.
Yeah, I think I have like a physics exam either Wednesday or Thursday. I have to confirm. So,
Okay, just let me know if there's difficulties with you taking the exam that day. I will let you. We can always reschedule it for you. I'm not too picky with this. I know that everything is okay. So exam, there will be. So I'll try to get it down. I'll try to shorten the exam so that right, class is an hour 20, but you can really take as long as you need on the exam. After 2 hours, you'll start being charged with the late penalty. Okay. If you have if you have a issue with the if you have a DRS accommodation, then of course the late penalty won't apply. Just I'll need to double check that, and then like double check that, hey, because I go through and basically dock the points manually. So remember, the late penalty is 0.1% per minute late, which means that basically you can take an extra hour on the exam if you need, and it will still be it'll only be 6 points off. This is basically just to make sure that you don't have to worry about the amount of time you have to spend on the exam, right? This is made to make sure that you aren't constantly like freaking out because of the time limit. Okay. But it also allows me to say that, you can't really take unlimited time on it. So that's kind of the fair balance I have between that. Now, let me go over here. I'll send this out in a text. Let me go ahead and send this out in a file. So copy link location, announcement. So let's go ahead, create a new announcement. Practice exam and exam 1 date. Exam 1 will be held on Zoom on the 24th of Feb at 11. Feel free to bring snacks. All right. Here's the super long practice exam. Emphasis on super long because I normally make the practice exams longer than normal. So let me go ahead and make sure you can see this, get this as a student. Okay, so the practice exam, normally I make it super already long for in-person exercises for when we do it in person, right? Normally you'd be taking this in person in your lab, right? During the regular semester. So, and I already make it longer and more difficult, but with the doing it online with having access to an IDE, this sounds super counterintuitive, but when you have access to an IDE and all the documentation and all the other stuff, it actually takes longer because you have to debug. Whereas on paper, you don't have to debug. You just make a mistake and you move on because you didn't notice the mistake. Whereas on paper, whereas on a computer, you've got minor mistakes and you're feeling like you got to get it running. All right, so let me just simply overview of the final of the exam here. Incidentally, we will go over the exam on the practice exam on Monday, most likely. Okay, makes sense to everybody? So we will go over the practice exam on next Monday. But it has multiple parts to it. Most importantly, please note that I like dealing with sorted linked lists over here, which is a hint for the kind of things you'll be dealing with on the actual exam, right? This one deals with 2 sorted linked lists. This one is about adding to a sorted linked list. Okay, so that's a hint, nudge, wink, wink about the kind of things that I like to cover on the actual exam. The way I did the practice exam is I took a bunch of questions, made twice as much as I needed to, and I packaged half of them into a practice exam. And then I took the rest and put them in the exam and then trimmed those down. Make sense to everybody? There are some, it's different because you'll have restrictions onto what you can do. Because notice with the add method over here, notice that I say you can't use the get node method, although you could rewrite it if you needed to. But there's a lot of things that you can do to make it more efficient. So let me go ahead. Will I be posting solutions to the practice exam? I'll be doing even better. I'll be going over the practice exam on Monday. Okay. Now for this last part over here, analysis 20 points. This is always on the practice exam and it's always on the exam. In fact, I will be super kind and actually show you what it looks like on the exam. So give me 1 second. I need to check what teaching. So data structure. Exam 1. the actual exam one. Open in Sumatra, please, so that I have it in a separate window. All right. So here is a problem on the exam, on the practice exam, and here's the corresponding question on the actual exam that I've asked in the past. A list can be implemented in a number of ways. Compare and contrast array lists and linked lists. In which situations would you use one to implement a list over another? And on the actual exam, I have 20 points. If you add those together, please explain how array-based lists, such like an array list, differ from reference-based lists, such as a linked list, in each of the following aspects. Be sure to note where one implementation has a clear advantage of the other. Big O notation is recommended. So notice these, that they are the same question. This question is on the exam. So I'm letting you know. I've already told you. So incident, and since you're on a computer, there's no reason why you can't, pre-answer this question right now and then copy paste your answer in. So just my little note to you. All right. So there you go. Be sure to, so that question will be on the exam. There will be a sorted linked list question on the exam, or at least one or two of them. And that's primarily how we're going to be doing this exam. Now, with regards to student view, with regards to the assignments that we currently have, I need to go and adjust the due dates, I think, so you're still working on this assignment. It's due in a couple days, apparently. If you need more time, let me know. Let me push back the maze solving assignment because that seems to be a bit sooner than I like it to be. Make it due the day after the exam. Here we go. This one I had a lot of fun writing. Just note for the maze.java, you'll need to replace maze grid panel solution with maze grid panel. Maze grid panel solution is actually my finished problem, and I forgot to change it. Okay, so, but this one, number 5, is actually pretty fun because it's all about how do you solve a maze. Can't solve like the maze from Maze Runner because that's an entirely different algorithm. But assuming you're in a normal maze where it's not changing on you and it's got the normal 2 dimensions, this is an algorithm you can use. It's actually very good when video game designers try to trip you up with a maze. It's helped me in Breath of the Wild in all those labyrinths. So stacks and queues will not be on the exam, no. Stacks and queues, I actually don't do the exam on necessarily. You will use them later on to help you with other things. They're super useful. But once you got linked lists, if you can handle linked lists, you can handle stacks and queues, since stacks and queues are just simplified linked lists. So there's no need to overtest on those. Okay. Right. So the exam is up through and including linked lists. Anything beyond that, you don't need to know. The next exam will be up through, which will be like on week 11, will be up through, but not including recursion. Sorry, recursion. So up through and including recursion, trees, heaps, and hash tables. So, all right.